Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 257, CRM Mobile Fort Knox, recorded on Friday, June 30th, 2023 from Zenatta Consulting. I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
Yes, we shall. Half a year in the books, Tyler.
It's a quick one. This year is flying by.
Flying by, man. It is flying by, and I'm not getting any younger, so I don't know about you, but
Getting a couple extra grades. You can start to see them now through the in our 4K high def streaming now. Just outswingy as being going gray at 27. So here I am.
Something I don't know. Anyway, never know. That's a nice new haircut you got, by the way. Very fancy.
Yeah,
Very
much
shiny.
sharper. Yeah, my normal barber was out last time, so things were all kinds of weird for my last haircut. So I had to get this one a little ahead of schedule.
Oh man! And all right, people, I know you just want to hear us talk about our hair all day long. We've just been losing
all the podcast listeners going, "Oh, thanks. Keep talking about your hair, please."
All right. With that, let's get right on into announcements and events. If you head on over to club.zenatta.com, that is where you will find our online community. And there, well, you can ask us questions for our AZAAZ show. You can participate in a general discussion group. We've got our code share, but we also keep track of all the events in the world of Zoho. From the homepage, we kind of aggregate them together over here, or you can kind of click on down and just drill into them. For example, here at Zenatta, we've got our AZAAZ, we got our CRM Zen show, but our big one, July 18th, we'll be doing Boost Your Productivity with Zoho bookings, calendars, and meetings. Who's doing that one, Tyler? Do we know?
I think it's you and I. I think we are back in the loop here for this one. So we should probably put a little something on the calendar.
It can't be me because I'll be on an Alaskan cruise with my mom and dad.
Well, then we might have to change it to me and someone else. I think it's supposed to be you and I. So I guess that's TBD. Well, I will probably be there, and the second guest will be a surprise for everybody.
It's their 64th wedding anniversary. 64 years with the same person. I just don't even know what it's like. I can't even stand up living with myself for 61 years now. I'm just going crazy anyway, that's where our events are. And then we also have all the Zoho events as well. They're doing this entire Creator Tech series that's been rolling out. That's kind of what they've got going. Looks like Zoho's taking the summer off. We're not seeing a lot of events happening up there. But anyway, head on over to club.zenatta.com, and that is where you will find all the latest events in the world of Zoho. And with that, let's jump right on into the news. Well, like your shiny new haircut, Zoho has dropped a bunch of shiny new product logos. Again, making the word Zoho as small as possible, but actually I think it works for these. They look pretty good. So
yeah, I like the new logos. It's kind of nice. I mean, it makes sense, right? A lot of these logos previously actually didn't have the word Zoho in them at all. So I think it looks like the update here, as even though the word is a little small, I think the goal here was to add that word across the board, right? Because you see a product logo, it says CRM. You know, there's a lot of CRMs on the market that could refer to. So it kind of makes sense to kind of go across the board. Every time they do this, though, I see new ones that I've never heard of before, like Zoho Dashboard, Zoho Empower. What is Zoho Empower?
Zoho Community.
Zoho for accounts.
Zoho Aptics. Do you know what Aptics is?
Not sure.
Zoho
no idea. There's actually a lot of these that I don't recognize. Zoho Hacksaw? That's an interesting one. Must be a dev tool, I have to imagine.
I don't know. Every time I do. Zoho Jeeves. Remember Ask Jeeves way back in the early days of the internet?
They making a search engine. Zoho, don't make a search engine. Don't do that.
Zoho Jeeves. Zoho Internet of Things. Zoho IoT. And they've all got these fancy new logos too. I don't know. Zoho Partners. I haven't seen that. Is that us? We partners?
I think that's us. Yeah, there's an app for us. We're an app now, everybody.
We're an app.
They do look nice, though. Good job, Zoho. I'm assuming they're all using the Poovy font. That might have been part of the update as well. Standardized that across the board to Zoho's in-house font. So
they are a
lot. Good job, Zoho. Curious to see what half of these are that I don't recognize.
A lot cleaner. We're going to have to do some digging on some of these. And they've also got the product logos with the dark background. So if you want that, pretty good. And all the product icons have all been updated. It's funny, though, you see things like Contract Manager's pretty much been deprecated. So they just left the old logo. Are there any logos? Contact Manager. I'd say control sales inbox, which
Yeah, makes sense. Yep, sounds about
nothing's
right.
happening
Yeah,
there.
Control
Right.
never got a new one, but technically not a Zoho product now, so I
Yeah.
guess that's
Yeah.
its own bucket.
Site 24/7. You know, Trainer Central, just words, because that's kind of its own deal too. But very good. It's a slow news week, people, so we're just kind of dragging things on here. So, all right, enough on new logos. With that, let us move right on into the next story, which is you can now in SalesIQ hide the chat widget outside operating regions. I love this.
Yeah, it's a
So
surprisingly big update.
it really
Surprisingly
is.
big update. And one of the main reasons for that is that you can just get a lot of spam through the chat tool, right? And
Yep.
for a lot of people, they might say that, you know what, for customers outside of a primary region, or maybe for us, it would be, English speaking primary regions. You don't want to inflate your chat volume with chats that you might not be able to service very well, right? If you kind of don't have the language or like cultural acumen to do that back and forth with certain types of customers. So yeah,
Yep.
very, very cool. Looks like it's an update to the code itself, right? So you have to just drop a little parameter in the embed code to
Yeah.
essentially make sure that it only shows the proper regions. But that's big. I mean, this is a long time ago now, Brett, but we used to have the chat widget on our site. And one of the
We
reasons
did.
we originally took it off is because we got so much kind of spam or junk things coming through there. Because for a lot of businesses, having that chat widget on the site absolutely increases the lead flow, right? You can chat with these people, you can talk to them. It's easier than filling a form. Just being able to control this is really nice.
Yeah, very good. Very nice update. One of those things that I never really thought about, but evidently someone was saying, "Hey, I only want to chat in this particular region," and it's perfect. Beautiful. Alrighty, and moving right along, got some privacy and security settings in Zoho CRM mobile app. This is not minor. Uh, they basically have got a new thing called App Lock. It allows you to prevent screen capture. It allows you to prevent someone copying text. So, basically, if you really kind of want to lock everything down, you can do such. So basically, no one can take a screenshot. No one, and the other thing that they did is they've got a passcode lock now as well. So you can use a passcode to lock the app, and then kind of these other things. And then the encrypted data is now all the data is encrypted if you select the app lock version. So some nice little security tweaks there. Very
Yeah,
good.
I think it's kind of some enterprise stuff across the board. You're going to have more people on mobile and you have to be able to lock certain things down, right? So
Yeah.
doing a screen capture, I mean, you think, yeah, first name, last name, email, but there could be a lot more in a CRM record, right? To grab a quick screenshot of something, plans for a project that you're
Right.
working on, a quote that's about to get sent out that you could show a competitor, all those different types of, open doors, if you will, that might show up on a mobile implementation. So yeah, good job Zoho across the board on this one.
Yeah, I was unaware you could prevent someone from taking a screenshot. I did not know that that was a thing. I
Yep.
wonder if that's in the newer version of iOS that they've implemented that. I've never used Snapchat, but people always said, "Oh, Snapchat, it's great because you send it, then it disappears, right?" And like, well, what if someone takes a screenshot? Now, I guess that if you did that, you got a notification that someone took a screenshot, right?
It does, yeah, it'll tell
Uh,
you.
yeah, of that picture you probably regretted sending anyway. So there you go. All right, moving on with the news. Bigin iOS and Mac now have a new thing called File Cabinet. I really like this. So basically, now in the app, if you save a file to a record, it automatically creates a work drive folder and a shared work drive link, and it drops it into work drive. Um, I kind of wish they'd get rid of attachments in CRM altogether and just do a little tighter work drive integration. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where it
I'd
was
have
just
to
every
think
time.
they're working on it,
Yeah.
because the big thing, and we actually have a couple templated scripts for migrating out of the CRM attachments
Hmm.
because the price per storage in CRM attachments is not good. It
Right.
is not a good price, right? If you end up needing to increase that storage, so you definitely want to be using Bigin or you want to be using WorkDrive for all of
Right.
your file storage. I mean, this kind of looks like almost exactly what I would want in CRM, right?
It
It's just
does.
saying, hey, the attachments related list is just a baked in work drive. right? Like they built it into the UI. So you're not like opening a new tab to work drive. It's just straight up, from what it looks like, at least just part of the record.
Yep.
I can tell you if they bring that to CRM, people will be all over it. I mean,
Well, we did
just
that
all.
implementation where we're writing images to WordPress. And so you upload the images into the CRM, and then we've had to write a script that actually takes them, puts them in Work Drive, makes it a URL, right? So we can get that URL to push the images up. This kind of solves all that. Be nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very, very nice. All right. And moving on with the news on our very short news week. This is more of a PSA. Um, if you are using the Zoho Cliq desktop app, it will no longer be supported on Windows 8.1. Now, I don't use Windows, Tyler, but I think, aren't they up to like 10, 11,
I think
12,
so.
something
I
like
think they're at least in the double digits at this point. So it
that? Right.
does make sense. I mean, which one was Windows 7? I think was the last Windows I used, and that was a while back. It was a
Yeah.
while back at this point. So
Yeah.
pretty
So,
reasonable. I mean, at a certain point, right, functionality starts being end of life on old operating systems. So
yeah.
if you've been kicking the can, maybe this is that last reason that'll get you to move over. Honestly, I think for most people, if you're still on Windows 8, probably not going to move because of this. So just use Cliq in your browser if you have to stay on Windows 8 for some reason.
Yes, sir. All right. With that, Tyler, let's get right on into the implementation of the week.
Alrighty, so this is one that we built out pretty recently, kind of a co-project here between Landon and Lucas. So this is an integration using Zoho Analytics as kind of an intermediate to do some automated surveying based on data that lives in Power BI and on a local server that our client is operating. So really the goal here is that this client provides transportation services where things are booked via a reservation. And very quickly after that reservation is complete, ideally within 30 minutes to an hour, we want to send a survey to the rider, basically asking how's the ride, XYZ, all those different types of just customer satisfaction metrics that we want. Previously, what the customer was doing was essentially a couple times a day, they were exporting from Power BI, importing into surveys to mass send, and doing it that way, right? So it's just a fully manual process. So we want to get away from that. And one of our kind of common cheat codes when we want to bring Zoho or data into the Zoho environment is to pull it into analytics. So that's exactly what we did. Essentially, the team set up the data bridge, which is just a pretty robust way to pull data from any type of server into Zoho Analytics. So if you're not on something cloud-based, you can oftentimes use that to get the data in. Then we set up some custom tables using SQL to kind of blend the data to get it to look how we need, and create a table that shows only reservations that were completed within that previous 30 minutes. Last but not least, right, we set up a scheduled function that will look at that table every 30 minutes and use the data in it to send a bunch of surveys out via SMS. So the client is using a third-party SMS platform. Honestly, with those tools, it doesn't really matter which one you're using, Dialpad, Twilio, Message Media, right? They're all essentially the same. And so on our side, we're kind of just pumping out that data using the survey links to send it out. We do also kind of pre-fill data onto the survey, right? The reservation ID, the name, the email, the phone, right? All that good stuff so that people don't need to refill that in. Once that data is submitted, obviously it's all stored within Zoho, and we can then report on it in Zoho Analytics a variety of different ways. The big stuff here out of the gate is kind of satisfaction by driver, by the type of car, by the type of route, just so that our client can get a better understanding of how things are going. So a big one here, really a time saver, right? This is something you can do with an export import. But the big takeaway is just that you shouldn't have to, right? You can just set up a little schedule, build it once, and it'll work for you in the long term.
Very, very, very nice. Nice job, Landon and Lucas. And you might notice it says Lucas, senior consultant rather than senior developer. Lucas has been with us for quite a while, was absolutely our senior developer and one of our top developers, and also had been doing a lot of consulting over the last little bit. And now he's kind of moved full time into that role. So congratulations to Lucas there as well. Nice implementation. All right. And with that, let's head right on over and look at our code share of the week. All right, we actually have 2 code shares that we've posted over on Club Zenatta. If you're first time watching the show, over on Club Zenatta, which is our online community, we drop every week, we drop a code share where we basically give you some deluge code that you may need to accomplish something that you're trying to do in your CRM or wherever. And this one comes from Andrew, and this is search for or create a Zoho Books customer. So basically, this lets developers search for customers based on the company name and the full contact name. And I guess if they don't find them, it goes ahead and creates them. Yeah.
Yep, looks like it. Yeah, you're essentially invoking like the search and create functionality within Zoho Books. The nice thing here is that the way that it's being done, if we scroll up a little bit, there's kind of a specific API call that we always want to use that creates it in Books with reference to like a CRM version, right? So you're able to just kind of make sure that that comes across. And then here we're also showing the creation of contact persons. Zoho Books terminology is a little different than the CRM, where it considers a contact to be like a CRM account and a contact person to be a contact. So it's a little tricky in that way. So Andrew kind of highlights that it is a 2-step process to make sure that all that data comes across.
So is this to get around the issue where Zoho Books and Zoho CRM use separate databases? So oftentimes there's a delay in the synchronization between those two. Is this basically to push that
Yeah, a
to
lot
fix
of the
that
times
problem?
we'll put a little script like this. Like imagine you have like a create invoice button, right? And like a deal. Well, what if that deal just moved weirdly quick, right? Like what if they called in, you created them as a contact and they're like, send me the invoice, man. I want it. I want that right now. You shouldn't have to wait for the sync. So in the process of doing that create invoice function, it can just check if they're already a customer in Books, create them if they're not. So
Nice.
this is like a fail safe that we put in lots of different pieces of code.
All right. And then our second implementation is HTML snippet for an NPS gauge. Basically, was that net performer score? Is that what we're looking at there? Net promoter score? Yeah.
Oop, all my
I think
screens
that's
died for a second there. Yeah, we're looking at net
promoter.
promoter score is what an
Yeah.
NPS would be. So essentially, looks like this is kind of creating a way to just do that slider gauge natively, so you can merge it into an email, right? A summary like that. In this case, I think the customer is working with accounts and contacts. And so we might do an NPS survey across many contacts in an account. You could take an average and kind of display it this way. So yeah, nice little non-deluge code snippet. Bit of a switch up for us this week.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Let's. We actually, first time in a very long time, we have a read of the week. So this comes from the Zoho blog, and they are saying, "Why is Zoho Notebook the best Evernote alternative?" And man, they have made a lot of progress on Zoho Notebook, and so they're basically doing a side-by-side comparison, saying if you're using Evernote, which is now, I guess, currently the most expensive note-taking app ever, then you might want to might want to take a look at Zoho Notebook. It's going to cost you $2.50 a month as opposed to $18 a month. And they've kind of got a side by side here, and they really have blown out that app. It's got so many
Yeah.
features.
Yeah,
Lovely
Notebook
app.
is getting really, really good. And I'm interested in what they're doing with Noteboard, right? We had that quick story last week around the kind of Kanban board view
Right.
inside of Notebook, which I'm assuming is V1, right? They're probably going to do more and more with that. But yeah, one thing to kind of call out with this article, Evernote is pretty expensive, man.
It
18
is.
bucks a month for a notes app. I mean, it's good. Let me be clear. Evernote is good. It integrates with lots of things,
Yeah.
but $18 a month is a lot for just a notes app, right? I mean, how are they justifying that price other than just people have been using it for a long time? So yeah, well worth just checking out if something else can work for you, because at that price point, you're saving a lot of money,
Yeah, and
honestly.
it looks like they built a little migration tool.
Mm,
Look at
no
that.
surprise.
And quickly migrate from Evernote. Right. Yeah. Look at that. Start your migration, log in, make it all happen. Fantastic. Nice job, Zoho. All right. With that, let us move on over to Zenatta and see what's happening over there. So our blog this week on Zenatta.com is asking the right questions for a successful Zoho third-party application integration via API. I didn't know this article was being written, but I'm really happy we did. Because I think, oftentimes we get that question. Tyler, you and I usually handle all the sales calls, people coming in, or, you're talking to a customer and they want to integrate Zoho CRM with some outside application. And, it's like, well, do they have an open API? What can we get? And so this kind of takes you step by step, everything you need to know to see if you actually can do an integration. It's nice.
I mean, this is essentially the game plan that we follow internally as we're kind of doing that.
Yep.
Big emphasis here on some of these questions. What direction does the data go? This stuff
Yeah.
is just as important as the technicals, right? Because if you can't work out directionality and the volume, right? Another big call out, right? If you're doing insanely high volume, that might change the method that's going to work best, trigger based, scheduled sync, XYZ. Looking at like, okay, so this third party app has an API. Are the modules we need supported in the API? Because
Right.
just because they have one doesn't mean that everything you can do in the app is going to be doable via the API. I mean, most of the time that's how it should be, but you don't know, right, until we jump in and look. And a lot of the times people will kind of, I know for you, Brett, on some of these prospecting calls, but I kind of do some of this research, when they're talking about integrations, and you see a wide variety of stuff. Like a prospect was looking at 2 different warehouse management systems.
Yep.
One of them had one of the most beautiful APIs I've ever seen. Everything documented, example code, endpoints, clear. The other one, it was like cryptic, very cryptic, trying to figure out what exactly you could do with it. And it's like, hey, sir, like probably go with that one, right? If you're going to want to integrate this, probably go with that one. I mean, it's a real feature of the product, right? It's not just a back
Yeah.
end thing. Absolutely a feature of a product.
I had a prospect the other day I was talking to. They've been using Zoho for a long time, and they have an absolutely beautiful proposal engine. I can't remember the name of it, but man, it was super nice. And the API allows them just to pull the contact name over. So they can't
Yeah.
pull over the products that they purchased. They can't pull over a copy of the signed agreement. They can't get any data out of it whatsoever. So it's a manual process of dropping it over. And they love it and it's beautiful, but they're actually looking to switch to something different because the manual entry is just brutal for them. So, it's
Yeah,
one of
it
those
makes it
things.
not worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've got it, you've got access to it, but it's kind of useless. So, all right, and with that, let's head right on over to our tip of the week. Now, I kind of recognize this guy. His hair doesn't quite look the same, but it appears that you did the tip of the week, Tyler.
Yeah, that is a guy who needs to clean up his sideburns. So let him know that. But yeah, this we're trying to be a little more consistent as updates that come out for various products that we consider kind of notable or major. We're trying to make sure we get a tip video out on those, just because they're new functionality, not always obvious how they get used. So this is a video that we did, like 7 minutes, pretty quick video on creating role-based custom views. So if you remember, just a couple weeks back, we had gone through this story that now if we want to create a salesperson leads custom view, we don't need to put all the names of the salespeople in that. We can just say that the owner is in a certain role, right? So we kind of do a quick review of roles and how those work, how to set them up. Then we show how to use these in your custom views. You're like clicking through perfectly to time this. I don't know if you're doing that on purpose. You're just nailing these like jump cuts. Yeah, and then we kind of show it working, right? Where different owners are going to show up in various views. Yeah, just like that. So yeah, audio listeners, check out the YouTube video for Brett's perfect jump cuts here as I'm going through. Yeah, good video, nothing crazy, nothing super technical, no code, anything there. Just a quick demo on how to set this up in your organization.
And if you don't, please head over to youtube.com/Zenatta. I should say, if you don't, if you haven't, where you can check out all of our content. We put out a lot of content every week. And more and more, we're having people just reach out and say, you saved me. I was looking around forever to try to figure out how to do this. And, I don't think we'll ever run out of content with 60 applications, Tyler. It seems like and all the changes, there's always stuff that we're wanting to update and put in here. So,
Yeah.
uh, It's a lot. This week alone, we did, the last 7 days, I guess, reply tracking, alternative Zoho campaigns, generating product labels via Zoho Creator, a beginner's guide to understanding Zoho inventory, AZAAZ Volume 1, Issue 15, and creating role-based custom views and filters inside Zoho CRM. So head on over to youtube.com/Zenatta and please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. 11,300 subscribers. We are getting up there. So I want to thank everybody for your support. All right, buddy. Well, a little bit of a short news week, but we are heading into the long 4th of July weekend. So I want everybody, hopefully everyone has a happy 4th and a safe 4th while you're out there fighting the crowds. Hopefully you're not flying, is it United that crashed and burned or something? One of the airlines.
I don't even know.
One of the
Just
airlines
driving this weekend. I'll be out in the mountains. So I guess we are going to have a guest host next week because I'm going to be out somewhere, probably 10 miles away from a trail starting ahead. So we'll need someone else to jump in. So expect
that. Are you out the whole week?
Everybody. Say again?
Are you out the whole week?
No, I'm in Wednesday and then headed out Thursday afternoon. Nice. But I'll be kind of around in the early part of the week.
Very, very, very nice. Well, I'm off to Mexico, to Valle de Guadalupe, to drink some nice wine and eat some good food. So I'm fortunate that it's only a 3.5-hour drive from Southern California to where I'm going.
Yep.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching the show. As always, if you'd like to get a hold of Tyler or myself, please head over to Zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting. We'd love to talk to you.
On the website is where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered to your inbox every single Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And as always, we would appreciate if you would like and subscribe here on YouTube and your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
Have a great weekend, everybody.